Okay, guys, so we are live. We're streaming on we're on Zoom and we're on Instagram, so we're figuring it out. But welcome, Lori. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, good. Thanks
Is
for
my
coming.
head cut off on there?
Yes, if you want to go a little bit down, that'd be great.
Mwah.
We're getting it. Hey,
That's,
Samantha.
wait,
Yeah, that's perfect.
because now I'm still.
We're figuring it out. We're doing it.
Is that good?
That's perfect. Yes.
Okay, good.
Hey,
That's gonna look
guys.
weird on the Zoom one. It's gonna look very weird. I'm like hugging my computer.
Thanks for jumping on with us. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so I told you guys that a lot of you had been, kind of asking about Candida and symptoms and all of those things. Hi, Mia. So I really wanted to bring on Lori tonight to talk about gut health and Candida because she is an expert in the field. So Lori, do you want to start by introducing yourself and your work?
Yeah, hi, I'm Lori Seeley, and I'm a functional medicine health coach. So what that means is I dig deep into what is causing symptoms so that I can then help a person undo those things and get rid of their symptoms. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of a health detective. So a little about my story. I had in the past IBS most of my life. And that's with constipation, occasional diarrhea, never, ever, ever a normal poop most of my life. And I didn't even know that I had a problem. We aren't at the point where I had a yeast overgrowth yet, but my lifestyle choices were for sure pushing me in that direction. And I was working as an opera singer at the Lyric Opera of Chicago. I remember missing some calls to stage, actually. So like I hear the music playing, I'm like singing with it, sitting on the toilet because I had like horrible diarrhea. You'd rather have me where I am than on the stage for sure at that point. Fast forward to a few years after I gave birth to my daughter, and now I've got brain fog, extreme fatigue. I'm literally falling asleep at stoplights, or at least like closing my eyes because God, I'm tired,
Yep.
And then also the depression, confusion, chronic sinus infections, yeast infections. I had a yeast infection every day for a year. And that was the last straw.
Yeah.
Still the whole time I was sort of going to doctors and hoping for help and trying what they gave me, and it didn't work. It just made things worse. I didn't understand. The whole time I was sort of searching online about my symptoms. I mean, really for 10 years, like long before the year of yeast, I was searching online about my symptoms, and it would come up systemic yeast. And then I would look at how do you treat systemic yeast. And then I got freaked out and ran away. I was like, no, it can't be that. I love my bagels. That's
Isn't that crazy?
how it is, man.
Isn't that crazy though? You can go for 10 years. I mean, I had the same experience, 10 years, a decade of just Googling symptoms. What does this mean? Because when you have such varied symptoms as brain fog and all the IBS things, you're like, what does this mean? And especially if you don't, have a functional medicine doctor or someone like you to really help dig deep and be like, what is the underlying cause? You just treat those symptoms and you feel a little better and then you don't. So thanks for being so honest about sharing your story. I think it's going to help a lot of people who are also kind of feeling those things.
Yeah, I mean, you get to that place and you're like, what's wrong? And this diagnosis, I hate to say that word, but like this thing is scary. It's really scary. And it's especially scary, like the things you have to do to get rid of it, like freaked me out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I finally, after that year of yeast and my doctor just kind of going, well, have some more diflucan. I don't know. And I was like, you know what? That doesn't work. Help me figure out what's causing it. When I finally started thinking that way, please help me figure out what is causing this. That's when the healing started, at least up here, right? So I jumped in head first and I found myself a health coach.
Yep.
And that is the thing that helped me to really make some progress toward gut health. And a few days after starting my new diet, I had my first, what I call now, nirvana poo. And what that is like, it's like number 4 on the Bristol stool chart. If you don't know what that is, Google it. I talk about it a lot. And it just kind of feels like soft serve ice cream, looks like soft serve poop. And it's very easy. It's easy to clean up afterwards. It's easy to get it out. You're not sitting on the toilet for 15 minutes trying to squeeze out that little marble, it's wonderful. Anyway, that was the start of the gut repair for me. And it was amazing. So then after, I went through all of the stuff to fix the Candida, repaired my own gut. Now I feel this calling really to share my story and my knowledge with anyone who's willing to listen, because I know that there are so many people suffering with the same thing. It's so common. I know that because of the things that we do to cause Candida overgrowth, they're so common. So, and now I found you, Erin. You're going to help me spread my word even more. You can hear me on some podcasts here and there. So that's how I'm kind of trying to get my voice heard, and really educate people on what they're doing to their bodies and what they can do to help and really make themselves feel so much better.
Yeah. And I can tell just because you're so vibrant, like you can tell how much feel, it's true, myself included. Like myself 10 years ago, I was not feeling this way. I was every day was suffering. So, you touched on some really great things. So maybe we can start by, talking about what is Candida, because a lot of people are probably relating to these symptoms that you've described, but, the basic of what is Candida and what is Candida overgrowth?
Right. Yeah. So when I first found out about this whole Candida thing, I was like, where did I catch this? What is this? How did that happen? Well, it's not like that. Candida is actually a normal little microorganism that everybody has in their gut.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be there. And it's not like, I wouldn't call it a beneficial organism, but they are doing some studies now to find out how it might actually have some sort of benefit for us. We don't know. But the way that it is normal in our guts, the way it's supposed to be, is okay. The problem comes when it gets overgrown. And that happens when we actively kill off beneficial bacteria and feed the yeast, which so many of our daily habits do. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. So when yeast becomes overgrown and fungal, it causes all these really uncomfortable symptoms, which we sort of touched on already. So there's bloating, constipation, diarrhea, gas, brain fog. That was big for me.
Me too.
Yeah. Depression, genital yeast infections.
Yep.
Obviously also big for me. Sinus infections, reflux, muscle pain, joint pain, headache, skin rashes, and eczema. And then it leads to leaky gut, food sensitivities, and later on down the road, autoimmunity, which I'm so grateful I didn't let it get that far. But I know a lot of people who have this autoimmunity due to the leaky gut that it causes. We'll get into that later. And then, so I want you to think about like the impact that these symptoms can have on your life, right? We touched on this already too. Genital yeast makes intimacy a huge problem. You're not connecting with your partner. Like there's a certain thing that I enjoy a lot, but I didn't want my husband to get thrush. So he had to stop doing that. And it was a real bummer. And then we really, I don't know, sex was painful and you don't enjoy it. And then you kind of don't feel like doing it because you're itchy. And they don't understand. It's awful. Your relationship really suffers. And then in the rest of your body, you're so inflamed and tired and achy that you don't have interest in doing all the things that can be fun. I mean, forget about like buying groceries or cooking, cleaning the house, the bathroom, whatever. My house is dirty. I didn't cook. I was like, it's for the birds. I don't have time. I don't have the energy for that. And my daughter was very young, and time spent alone with her was overwhelming for me. She just took so much energy, and I felt awful because I didn't have it in me to play with her. It's not cool. And then, just time with family and friends, it's all out the window, or you just like with my daughter, I managed to spend time with her because, my husband was at work and I was home with her. So like, I didn't have a choice, but I felt, it was such a struggle, and it made me feel ashamed that it was a struggle to hang out with my daughter, the whole thing. It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah. So, the fatigue piece is horrible. That in and of itself, if you ever suffered from chronic fatigue, you know what we're talking about. It's just that constant not having energy to do the things you love and want to do. And then once you do kind of heal, Candida and other things that are contributing to that, you're like, what? I didn't know I could feel like this. So yeah, I understand, because in my 20s, I was feeling that way. I was chronically fatigued in my 20s, and having Candida was contributing to that. So I completely understand. I know a lot of people probably watching can understand that feeling too.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. And so, you talked all about that. So what causes Candida overgrowth? We kind of talked about what it is. We talked about, how at normal levels in the body, it's, studies are being shown, it could be beneficial. We're not quite sure yet, but it's at least not causing a huge issue. But when it does get overgrown and it kind of takes over our microbiome and kind of kills off the good bacteria that we have, and it becomes a problem, like at that point, what is causing that? Like, how do we get this situation?
So how we do that is we do things that both feed Candida and also kill off our beneficial gut bacteria. So when you kill off the beneficial gut bacteria, you are essentially building a mansion for Candida to live and thrive in. And then you're feeding it all these things. So that's like sugar or other foods that digest into sugar. So it doesn't necessarily have to be sweet. So that's like obviously candy and stuff like that, high fructose fruit, but rice, bread, pasta, it doesn't have to be sweet. Bagels, I loved my bagels.
Yeah. I know. Who doesn't love bagels?
I know, oh my God. And cream cheese, never again. And then drinking alcohol, proton pump inhibitors, that also doesn't feed Candida, but it creates an environment in which it thrives. And then things that kill are healthy gut bacteria. So that's like steroid use. And when I say steroid use, this isn't just injections that make you muscly. It's like nasal steroids for allergies, and prescriptions that you might get for like an upper respiratory infection that just like reduces the inflammation so that you can heal. Well, that covers up the symptoms on the surface while actually fueling the fire of Candida, because the steroids actually make a lot of space for Candida to grow and thrive. And then also antibiotics, I'm sure you knew I was going there, oral birth control, and pesticides. And now a lot of people are probably thinking, well, I don't eat pesticides. Yeah, you do. If you ever eating something that's not organic, you're eating pesticides. And it's not enough to just wash your produce. It's just not enough, because what do you think happens when they spray produce? They spray produce while it's growing. They spray produce right before they pick it. So of course it's on the outside of it. Right. But what do you think happens to that liquid with the pesticides in it? It drips down and into the soil. So now the next crop that grows in that soil is being grown with soil and groundwater that has pesticides in it. And those pesticides are specifically developed to kill things that are very similar to our gut bacteria. So when you're eating stuff that's not organic, you are actively killing your gut bacteria. And that goes for eating cows that are not organic. They ate corn that's like covered in sweet, what is it, corn syrup, to get them fat faster, and it's GMO corn that's filled with pesticides. And now you're eating all that, the GMOs, the corn syrup, and the pesticides. So we always want to have, you know, grass-fed beef if we're going to be doing that, right? I won't get too far into that, but pesticides.
So it seems like diet is hugely important. Like we talked about, you know, Candida thrives off of sugar, all the foods that convert to sugar, you know, not just the candy and the cakes and the cookies, which obviously will really take a toll. But anything too that really reduces our immune system via our gut health, you know, kind of, you know, contributes to leaky gut, all of that, you know, the birth control, the pesticides, everything that you talked about. Yeah, that's, I mean, also, what about chronic stress? I mean, that's something I think that I saw your eyes go wide.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know for me, that was part of it too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, chronic stress. All of these things that we were talking about before are a form of stress on the body. Like, we don't think about these physical stresses being stresses, right? But they really are. Your body perceives physical stress and mental emotional stress as the same thing and reacts to it in the same way. So when you are running away from a bear or when you're fighting a fungus, your body is in a state of emergency, and your body is feeling like the world is an unsafe place to be. And that enhances leaky gut right there. Because your body's like, whatever it is, get it out, get it out, get it out, you know?
And really compromises that ecosystem, you know, because Candida can only thrive in certain situations where the ecosystem has been taken over, like we talked about, that mansion, you know, they move into the mansion, they take over. But yeah, it's like that chronic stress piece really contributes to the ecosystem that we have. I also wanted to say real quick, you guys watching, if you have any questions for Lori, please go ahead and drop them. I know Mia just said, yes, chronic stress. She enjoyed hearing about that. But if you guys have any other questions throughout this, please drop them. We'll make sure to answer them.
Okay, cool. And if you do see that half of my phone is covered up, so tell me.
I will. I'll let you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. So thank you for telling us about what Candida is, you know, what causes it, how do you get this overgrowth system in the ecosystem. We kind of touched on this, but what other diseases are likely down the line if we don't deal with Candida overgrowth?
So I think we should talk about zonulin, which this is it's very important. So overgrown fungal candida irritates the entire gastrointestinal tract. The same way chronic stress does. And this stimulates the release of a protein called zonulin. So zonulin is a totally normal and useful protein. It's there for a reason. It's meant to get released in the gut when we ingest an irritant. Like if you eat something that's got a harmful bacteria or some other pathogen in it, zonulin, oops, I just kicked my check. Zonulin actually loosens the tight junctions and the intestinal barrier, making the gut-body barrier extra permeable. And then that allows water to rush through the gut and out the back door to try and flush out whatever this perceived poison is in the body. So that causes that like violent diarrhea that we associate with food poisoning, right? That's because of the like instant release of zonulin in the gut. So that's good, right? That works really well when we're healthy, when we have a diverse gut microbiome and everything's cool. But when we have a compromised immune system due to something like antibiotics, oral birth control, steroids, sugar consumption, and the irritant comes from inside the body, like Candida overgrowth, then we have this chronic exposure to the irritant, which is the Candida overgrowth, right? And this is going to continuously stimulate the release of zonulin. You're going to have this chronic low level of inflammation throughout the gut, and that's going to cause like immediately that's going to cause constipation and or diarrhea. You're going to alternate like I did all the time. And you're going to have chronic leaky gut. So We mentioned this before. Leaky gut is enhanced intestinal permeability. Our intestines are supposed to be mildly permeable. That's how we absorb nutrients. But when the tight junctions in the lining of the intestines become too loose and they allow undigested food to pass right through the walls of the intestine and into the blood and into the rest of the body, so that's when our immune system sees perfectly good but undigested food and sees that as a foreign invader, and it attacks it with inflammation. So it pushes fluid and inflammation to the areas where this food is. So then we have more of the same symptoms that I mentioned before in relation to Candida. So the fungal Candida is in our body. It's worked its way through that leaky gut, and the fungus is hanging out, and it'll pool in your joints and in your muscles. Anywhere you have a bend, that stuff pools. And sometimes this is going to get diagnosed as arthritis, when actually it's inflammation that's caused by Candida and leaky gut, right?
Yeah. Very cool. Yep.
Oh my gosh. And people, and like a lot of doctors don't go to the root cause. They just give you a Band-Aid for your symptoms.
A diagnosis.
Diagnosis. And then in the background, the symptoms the problem keeps getting worse, right?
Yeah. And it manifests in different ways. And then you develop an autoimmune condition, and then it just keeps going if you don't.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So the more you eat a certain food, the more you're preparing your immune system to be ready to fight that food, right?
Yep.
So you eat broccoli every day and you have leaky gut because of Candida. So now your body develops antibodies to that broccoli. And now every time you eat broccoli, you're going to feel awful because your body's attacking the broccoli. That's a food sensitivity. And this is also added stress on your body. And it's you telling your body that the world is an unsafe place to be, because you keep eating this broccoli thing that your body thinks is some sort of a foreign invader, and your body's constantly attacking it. And now it's going to see inflammation in your joints and start attacking that. And it's going to see inflammation in your thyroid, start attacking that. This is where we get autoimmunity, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So like, if you guys don't know what autoimmunity is, that's your body attacking its own tissues, right? So some of those autoimmune conditions are Hashimoto's thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, vitiligo. That's that one that Michael Jackson had where he had like the white spots on his skin. Multiple sclerosis, type 2 diabetes, lupus. The list goes on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
And then we went over the symptoms of the Candida overgrowth earlier, right? All these things, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, yada, 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 leads to skin rashes and eczema and leaky gut and food sensitivities. Now you're tired, you're achy, your relationships are suffering, you really don't feel like yourself. Your friends, your family are getting so frustrated with you.
Yeah. And so I feel like Mia just asked an amazing question, which I feel like is the perfect segue into what we were talking about next. But she asks, what is a realistic protocol to repair the gut microbiome?
Hot damn. Good question. So this is threefold when you have Candida. So we starve it, we kill it, we evict it. Starving it with the anti-Candida diet. That is eating none of the things that we mentioned in the beginning, all of the foods that digest like sugar. So now a lot of people think that this is a very limiting diet, and I don't. I did when I first started it. I thought I was in hell. I really didn't understand, like, what am I supposed to do with this? What do I eat? What do you mean you can't eat rice? What's left? So
especially in the beginning too, as we're going to get into this, but especially in the beginning when your body is used to having those things and then you experience some of the symptoms of not having it. I can think of this as like cravings and intense sugar cravings I experienced. Oh, yeah, but that's the part too.
It's awful. It's awful. So it's like, it's mental and physical.
It's completely,
right? Yep. You have all these cravings, you're dying, you don't know what to cook, and you're like, all I can think about is bagels. What do I do? And,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
really, once you're doing it for a couple of months and you really I actually provide really great recipes for my clients, but at the time I kind of I had a handful that kind of got me thinking, but I didn't, that was something that my health coach kind of fell short on. But so I was kind of searching for all this stuff, and after a couple months kind of eating that way, I kind of realized, wow, I eat a lot more different stuff now than I ever did before. And actually, when I used to eat only bread, cereal, sandwiches, and maybe a salad once a month, and soup and pasta, when that's all I ate, then my diet was limited. Now I'm eating all these things I'd never heard of before. Flax seeds? What? Chia seeds? What's that? Buckwheat? I don't know what that is.
That's such a good way to reframe it. You're so right, though.
Yeah. You're just your mind is open to so much more stuff. Okay, so
you're saying it's threefold, right? You're saying starve it, kill it with
with the natural antifungals or prescription antifungals, which we can talk about that at a different time. I like the natural ones better, but sometimes the prescription ones are just necessary. You just have to know what they're doing to you and kind of counteract it. And then you evict it by filling its mansion with beneficial bacteria. That's probably the most important, the hardest one to do, the one that's most important to really, really learn about, right? So if you do just one of those things, two of those things, it's not going to work. You have to do all three things all in for 4 months. And then you kind of reassess, did I finish my job? Because sometimes Candida is like peeling the layers of an onion. So always reassess, retest, figure it out, and it's very easy to make mistakes without knowing it. You waste time, you waste money, and the healing process takes a lot longer. And so you always retest.
That was my experience, kind of going at it haphazard. I would first do the anti-Candida diet, but I wouldn't really have the antifungals on board. And then I wouldn't have, the 3-step of also replacing with good beneficial bacteria. So it took me forever to get rid of Candida because I didn't have this tailored approach that, you talk about and you work with clients on. So I think that's so crucial to understand. And I think that's why it's so important to work with a provider too and to get the right testing, because otherwise it's like you're just throwing spaghetti at a wall being like, I hope it's gone. I hope I've been on this anti-Candida diet for long enough. And then you reintroduce foods and you might have a reaction and be like, well, guess I need to do it longer. So, and you mentioned testing. Can you tell us real quick what, if someone suspects they have Candida and they're working with a practitioner, should they get tested? Do you believe in functional testing for that? Or do you believe in, treating the symptoms via, what we've been talking about without testing?
What I think is right away when you first start off, if you have all your symptoms line up, all your health or your lifestyle history lines up, and you go, there's no doubt, that's what it is. Start dealing with it right away.
Okay.
Question yourself. But after you've gone through a protocol and you're like, so is it gone? That's the time you definitely must retest. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can do just a very simple blood test for Candida albicans and see how that comes back. You can also this is something that I really love, and I think everybody should do at least once a year, no matter what. If you're feeling great, if you're feeling awful, no matter what, you should do a stool test.
Yes.
And this is not just a stool test where you poop once and you take a little scoop. No. That's not it. You take a stool test that's going to be 3 to 6 days long. 3 is enough, but some of them aren't go for 6 days.
Yep.
And you take a sample from each one of those days, and it's gross. You're getting up close and personal with your poop.
Not great, but it's worth it.
It's not great. You've got this little vial with a little spork. You kind of dig in there. Anyway, when this test comes back, you have there's one by Meridian Valley Lab that I use because it's very high quality and also the lowest price that I've found. It's still not cheap. but
Mm-hmm.
it's the best for quality and price that match together that I've found by Meridian Valley Lab. And it's called a stool test, ova and parasites ×3.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like the GI map. Those are the only ones that are coming to me right now.
Yeah, I love the GI map. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
These are really good tests.
Yep.
And it's going to show you not only what your level of Candida is, but what natural antifungals and what prescription antifungals it actually responds to. Mm-hmm. So cool. So you just froze up on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you're there. Okay, anyway. It might be my reception, who knows. Anyway, so it shows you all that stuff about Candida, and then it sort of, if you still have some left, it's going to show you really what to use to kill the rest of it, right? What it's going to respond to. And then also it gives you a complete download of all the healthy bacteria, all pathogenic bacteria that are in your gut, and it tests for pathogens as well, like C. diff and all stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so glad you talked about all the parasites.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times if you have Candida, that goes hand in hand with parasites, because if you have Candida, that means that you have a good environment for parasites to thrive. And we're all exposed to parasites on a regular basis. We walk outside with our shoes off. We pet our dogs. We eat out at restaurants. I mean, you're exposed to parasites. And if you have a healthy gut bacteria, it's nice and acidic in there. You have like good stuff going on with your bacteria. You're going to secrete some zonulin, flush that stuff out, and that's the end of it, right? Yep. But if you have a compromised immune system because you've been taking all the antibiotics and eating the non-organic foods, you're not going to be able to kill those parasites that you might ingest. And so it's frequently, if you have the Candida, that tells me that you have an environment for parasites.
Yep.
So that's for that stuff too.
That's good. And I love the gut testing because I know it's money, but it's money worth spent. I mean, especially if you think there's multiple things going on, you just want to get to the root cause and figure it out. I recommend that so much. And so, let's assume that we've done all the things right. This is what I dealt with too. Candida can come back easily. So how do we avoid like another overgrowth? Like how do we keep ourselves healthy, our immune system strong, our gut health intact so that we don't have to go through that process again?
Right. So a lot of your people probably already know this. Like our immune system exists in the gut. Right? Most of it. Like I've heard different percentages, up to 95%, as low as 75. So anyway, we know it's around there, right? Most of our immune system exists in the gut. That's our good bacteria. That's our acid in our stomach that like zaps stuff, right?
Yep.
Well, so what do we do to prevent another overgrowth? We repair the gut. We undo the damage done by the consistent zonulin excretion. We nourish the semi-permeable barrier with mucilaginous herbs to restore those nice tight junctions in the barrier of our gut. And then we avoid the habits that led to the Candida overgrowth in the first place so that you don't cause another overgrowth to happen again. And so this often involves a whole new relationship with food. Like I was talking about before, vegetables are beautiful, they're colorful, I'm eating so many different things than I ever did before, bagels suck, boo. And and then we change the way that we respond to illness. Mm-hmm. Right? So when you're ill, you don't go straight to the doctor, give me antibiotics. No. Because you know what? We know that most of the time, if you're not dying, you have a cold, you have a little something in your nose. If you take antibiotics, that cold is going to be gone in about 10 days. And if you don't, it's going to be gone in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
So if we just don't, and not taking the antibiotics is helping our body to learn how to heal itself, right? Yeah. Because then the next time we see whatever that is, that virus, whatever, our body's going to be like, I already have antibodies to that. I'm going to eat it up and we're going to be fine. And then your body won't even react to it. You know, like you'll be exposed to a virus and your virus is going to be like, I got this. It's just going to flush it out and you're not going to get sick. You're not going to get the symptoms, right? Because your immune system is calm and strong, not weak and freaked like it is when we have
constantly reacting.
Reacting, thinking the world is an unsafe place, right? Yeah.
And I think this can be the hard part. So someone just asked, will this be available to watch later? Yes. So you guys, I'm going to post this on my story for 24 hours and then I'll have a replay too. That's why we're recording on Zoom. But I think this is kind of the hard part because, you know, in our modern medical system, we get something, we get a diagnosis, we often take a pill or we, you know, get rid of it quick and we want it just to be over with. And we don't really consider the lifestyle factors that are contributing. And like Candida is one of those things where it's showing us that our body is out of balance and we need to bring it back into balance. And it's not just about eradicating it and then going back to the way, you know, that kind of caused the ecosystem to be out of balance. And so I think this is the hard part for a lot of us, myself included. I think with me, I had been in so much pain for so long, for 10 years. I was like, I will do anything to heal. And so that's what kind of led me to start eating right for my body and start reducing stress and all those things. But this can be a hard part of it because we're kind of, in a sense, you know, changing a lot of our lifestyle. We're having to reduce stress. We're having to, you know, think about the foods we're eating and all of that. Yeah. So I like how you talk about that because, you know, it's not the general way that we're taught about health. You know, holistic health isn't something that we're really taught. We're not taught any of this. We're not taught how everything kind of starts in the gut, and by, you know, eating the right foods, you know, we can kind of, you know, set ourselves up for good health and kind of not be susceptible to a lot of these modern diseases and chronic diseases that we have.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So many times that like a person gets this, like a diagnosis, and then they assume, oh, I have this now. And I've seen this happen time and time again with Candida, like people who I talk with on groups that I joined years ago on Facebook, you know, and I'm talking with them now and they're like, oh yeah, I do this and this and this. And then sometimes I get a flare up when I eat this. And it's like, what? Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, why are you eating it? But then also like, you should be able to eat that and not get a Candida flare up. You didn't kill your overgrowth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I ask them like, are you managing your symptoms? Is that your goal? Do you want to keep this disease for the rest of your life and then just manage your symptoms? And, or do you want to get rid of it, like eradicate that stuff? And, you know, you don't have to do that. It's totally reversible. You know, if you just sit there for the rest of your life, just managing your symptoms, you're in line for an autoimmune disease. Like, you know, and I hope that people are kind of waking up and going, oh my, like that could really happen. And maybe I should do something about it before it gets there. Right. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about that. You know why I finally did is because my grandfather and also his mother both died of colon cancer. Mm-hmm. And once I found out, like, I didn't realize that I was constipated my whole life. I thought that those little balls I was pooping 9 times a day was good poop. I had no idea. And then once I found out, like, oh, like that's what it feels like after a nice poop. Nice. Once I figured that out, my goal was to not die of colon cancer because I've seen it. I witnessed both of those people die. It's not pretty. Yeah. It's not pretty. Yeah. They were like, God, take me, please. I'm ready. Like, I don't want to be like that. When I want to die old and happy in my sleep, man. And so God help and yoga, here I come. So that was my why for doing it. You know, I don't scare people, whatever. I just want to emphasize, like, this can happen, but like, don't you want to feel good? Yeah. Feel awesome. And not be like, you know, I was like close to tears most of the time, you know?
Oh, me too. Oh, so much of the time.
So not good.
For the sake of time, is there anything else you want to talk about before we jump into your, you know, tailored approach to healing Candida?
Yeah, here, let me see in my notes there's just one thing that I wanted to talk about. This whole thing, like, it can sound a little simple, but we have to talk about Candida in a certain way. You have to understand Candida has been around for billions and billions of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one-celled, or I don't know how many cells. It's a very small organism.
Mm-hmm.
It's smart and it's scrappy, right?
It
figured out how to make it from the ocean to inside our bodies, where it lives a happy life now in the nice, warm, wet environment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you give it space, it will grow and it will become fungal and it will make your life hell.
Yeah.
And then that's going to lead to all these things, the food sensitivities, the autoimmunity, right? But it doesn't have to be that way forever. Food sensitivities can go away. That's another point I wanted to make. You are not, like, if you're sensitive to broccoli, like I said, that doesn't necessarily have to last for the rest of your life. You heal your gut, you stay away from broccoli for a while so your body can forget about it, like lose the antibodies to it. And then you can eat some of those things once in a while, you know? Yep. For me, dairy and wheat are never going to come back into my life. And that's probably the truth for a lot of people. But you know what? Like,
but so many other things.
So many other foods you can go back and eat again, you know? You have to be smart about killing it. You have to heal your gut afterwards. And yeah.
Great. Thank you. So should we jump into your system, your program, your 7-step system, which I love. So good.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we start with cleansing our detox organs first. This is something that a lot of people skip.
Yeah.
And then they have this horrible die-off symptoms. And they're like, yeah, I have die-off, I'm doing this. Well, no. When you have die-off, that means that your body is having trouble getting rid of the toxins. So dead Candida gives off toxins the same way, like, you've probably seen this in, like, you know, TV, like, you know, NYPD Blue or whatever. Dead bodies actually excrete gases, right? Well, Candida does the same thing. Candida excretes gases after it's dead. Totally toxic, totally makes you feel awful. That is what's creating your die-off symptoms, okay? And that's still going to happen a little bit, but when we start with cleansing our detox organs, it's going to make the whole thing so much easier, right? And then we go all the way through starving and killing Candida, replenishing gut bacteria, retesting to make sure you got it all, and then finding your new normal so that the overgrowth doesn't come back, right? So within the first month on the program, you're going to begin to feel so much more like yourself. Your quality of life is going to improve. You're going to have the energy to do all those things you've been missing out on.
Yep.
So as we talked about, Candida can affect our relationships, our interaction with our friends and our family, because Candida creates inflammation all over the body, and so does leaky gut, right? So that's going to make us sluggish, achy, tired, sad. Overwhelmed, right?
Oh yeah, the mental health. I mean, depression, anxiety, all of that because of that gut-brain connection. Yeah, I mean, especially as you were talking about the die-off symptoms, when you do start to starve and kill the Candida, like you said, if you're not detoxing adequately, oh my gosh, I've experienced this firsthand. I mean, horrible brain fog, intense cravings. You want to like kill someone because you feel so awful. Depression, like all of those things are, and that's again why I think, you know, your program and working with someone like you who understands that and understands the whole process is essential, because you might start to feel like crap, and it's really important that you do this process that helps support your entire body while doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I started to get mean with people when I was going napping, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I haven't had bread in like a month. I mean,
irritability, like all of these I mean, it's not just the physical, it's the emotional, it's the mental, like you're gonna feel it the whole body.
It's a lot. But you know, when you repaired your gut from the damage, your inflammation is going to disappear and you'll get your energy back. And you're going to start to notice that you haven't had a headache in months.
Yes.
That happened to me. I was like, when's the last time I had a migraine? I'm
You can't even remember.
Yeah. You can't even remember. And then you're not going to cringe with sadness and shame when your child wants to go to the park with you, because it's going to sound like a great idea. You're going to be like, yeah, I know to do that. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And in my program, you're going to have support all the way through. We have twice monthly live group coaching via Zoom, and you have access to me in the Facebook group. The program actually lasts 4 months, but it may take longer than that for your body to actually clear out the Candida, because like we said, it's like peeling an onion. Sometimes you're going to have to just go back to step 3, killing it. And you stay on the probiotics, you stay on the diet and everything, and you just go back to killing it again. You go through that part of the program again, retest, keep seeing what happens, right? Well, that's why you have access to me and my membership program, which is my membership website, which is called the Guts and Glory Galley. And you're going to have access to the live coaching with future groups that go through the 7-step system. So you'll be able to hop on there just like you did the whole time before. So that's for full 12 months from when you started till when you're done, right? And then your membership in the Facebook group is forever. In the Guts and Glory Galley, we have awesome recipes. So this is something that I'm really excited about that I did not have access to when I was going through this. I had to search myself and like tweak recipes. Well, I've searched for these recipes for you. I've tweaked them already. And they're already ready for you to eat anti-Candida recipes. Amazing. Plus, the first 5 people to register with me will receive a free 60-minute one-on-one coaching session with me. So we can set you up for success in the program. That's actually, like, I usually charge $450 for that. Just one coach, like a one-off coaching session. So jump on that. Be one of the first 5. So, and it works because we don't just assume we're done just because we've been through all the steps, right? This is what I said before. Test, don't guess, right? And we don't repeat the actions that got us in trouble in the first place. And we find a new, less stressful lifestyle, right? We don't keep feeding our foods things that stress us. We kill the Candida, which has been stressing us. We talk about meditation. We talk about, things that you can do, yoga, exercise, all that kind of, like, it's a big part of the program, finding ways to de-stress mentally and emotionally, as well as those physical stressors, right? And then when you're done, you're going to have your life back.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many reasons I love you, but a few of them, just to name a few. One of them is I just feel like your program is so holistic in nature. Like, you're giving people this system that works, but then you're not just saying, here you go, take it. Because, guys, anytime anyone just hands you a program and says, take it, it'll fix things, just like run the other way. I mean, it's so much about your own body and like a tailored approach and having the support from, certified health coach like you who knows, all of the ins and outs, and also how to help you, figure out what's best for your body. So I love that your program isn't just like here you go, sign up and do it. No, they're going to get the support. They're going to get the coaching from you. They're going to have direct access to you. And, your understanding of Candida is obviously at the expert level, but also, helping people heal in a way that's like tailored to them, I think is like one of the hallmarks of a good provider. So I'm really happy that you do that.
Yeah. And I don't know if everybody is familiar with Zoom. That's where I do my group coachings. So just in case you're not familiar with that, just so you know, when we do a group coaching on Zoom, it's like we're sitting in the same room together. Everybody has cameras on. I mean, if you don't feel like you look great to be on camera, we don't care. But like, if you care, you can turn your camera off. Don't be scared. And then we all talk. It's like we're in the same room, and you can directly talk to me, ask me questions. I need clarification on this, or what is this? I'm not understanding. Or, hey, I'm feeling this. Or, hey, you know what? I had good poop yesterday. Like, that's going to be like
Yeah,
You know,
just to get that feedback. Completely.
Yeah. And I have this awesome offer for Erin's tribe and anybody who's watching this in the replay as well.
Yeah.
So you guys are getting a huge discount. You're getting this one-on-one free coaching with me if you sign up fast, and plus the membership in the Guts and Glory Gallery for 12 months. And then, there's also info in there about supplements, pH balance, and more. I'm adding to that every single month. And so normally I charge $5,000 for my one-on-one coaching that has this same result. But being an online course, 50% would be a steal, right? At like $2,500. But I feel like there's so many people going through this who can't swing that. And I want to make it accessible to more people. And I'm just really in this to help people, right? So I'm actually offering it at $1,500, but for you guys, I'm still giving you like an extra $500 off. So awesome. It's going to be the magic number $997 for you guys. And it's never going to be this cheap again. I'm constantly tweaking it, and the cost is just going to go up. So like, if you're thinking this is something for you, now is the time to snap it up and get in the group. It's so useful to have the live one-on-one coaching twice a month for the whole time. Like, that's so useful. And so then we have the bi-monthly online group classes, downloadable PDFs for each of the 7 steps, 12 months in the Guts and Glory Galley, delicious recipes every month, and all the support and accountability you need. So you can always access me on Facebook, but then like our group coachings are really going to be the best thing ever. Where are we going to find links?
So you guys, I'm going to post, I'm going to put it in my Linktree bio. So if you want to sign up with Lori, you can definitely do that. Lori, I wanted to ask you, this just popped in my head. So say someone who's watching is like, I think I have Candida. I'm not quite sure. I want to join your program. I love you. This is great. Can they do a free consult with you to make sure it's a good fit for them? Do you offer that, or is it just
totally.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's in my Linktree bio. There's a link to sign up for that. There's like a link to my calendar, because a lot of times we go back and forth with emails, like, does this work? And it gets to be too much, right? And so I just have that calendar right there with my availability posted.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Because I know when I've worked with coaches and practitioners in the past, like, I want to make sure it's a great fit. And I'm sure people have gotten a really good, idea of what you're about and the type of work you can do and how you're going to help them. But I think that's awesome that they can also jump on a call with you and just make sure, like, this is the program for me. So cool.
Absolutely. I totally welcome that. Yeah.
And guys, I'm also going to put in my Linktree your freebie. What is it? The 7 steps to kick Candida. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I also have anti-Candida breakfast recipes ebook too.
Cool. I'll put this in my bio.
Absolutely. And I forgot to mention, the last day of the discount is July 8th.
Okay. So they've got about a week to sign up.
Yeah. And that's going to give you time to start with step 1.
Yep.
That's on my website. You can start with step 1, and then you'll be ready for what we're going to get down on with our first class in August.
Okay, cool. I'm excited about your program. I know I've been following you and watching it and all of it. So that's so exciting. Thank you. Thank you for being here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. You can drop them. Someone just jumped off, but said really helpful info. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, you guys, thank you for being here. If you have any questions, let us know. You can always shoot me a message or shoot Lori a message. What's your Instagram handle, Lori? I'm sure they can find you.
At Lori Gutsy.
Gutsy. Perfect.
Gutsy.
Gutsy.
Gutsy. For my gutsy warriors.
I love it. And you also offer one-on-one coaching too, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If someone, is like, I want to work on this with you, but they prefer the one-on-one, I mean, that would probably be a good fit too.
Yeah, totally available. And I work on I work on mostly Candida stuff, but then in the one-on-one coaching, we can get even deeper.
Yeah.
You know,
Perfect.
So there's a lot of other things we can kind of get into there, right? And I can even look at things like blood work and stuff like that. There's no diagnosing here. Like we should have probably had this little, that thing at the beginning. We're not doctors. We don't diagnose, treat any diseases or prevent any diseases, blah, blah, blah. However, this is education for you. This is how the body works, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what I do for my one-on-one clients is I'll look at their blood work and interpret it and kind of say, hey, maybe you should get this tested. It looks like maybe your numbers are going in this direction, and maybe you should look at this, and so it just kind of gives, because a lot of times a doctor will see that a blood result is in the normal range, and it's actually kind of like not in the optimal range and hasn't been in the optimal range and has been going in the wrong direction for years. And that's a disease waiting to happen. Right. And so what we want to do is kind of catch it before it goes there while it's still easy to deal with. Right. So that's a big part of what I do as well. One-on-one. I love that. Not in group.
And especially if you're just beginning to kind of explore the world of functional medicine and you're kind of looking for a second opinion, that's where I started. I mean, I was going to conventional doctors. I got 0 answers. Like, I wish I could say that I got an answer, but I didn't. And that's when I kind of started seeing these functional practitioners, and someone like you, a functional, medicine health coach is so helpful, because you can really have a second opinion, kind of talk about the lifestyle stuff, but also look at blood work, look at all of that stuff, and just really help be a coach and, such a good support person. Yeah. So I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, we're probably going to wrap up, right? But you guys, I'm going to go ahead and share, if you're interested in Lori's coaching program, group program, I'll go ahead and post it in my bio so you can just hop on, shoot her a message if you have any specific questions. She's happy to jump on a call with you. Thank you so much. We went for a whole hour.
I know, we were like thinking it was going to be 40 minutes. I'm so sorry it went that long.
No, that's okay. If they don't want to see it, they can just, click through or go faster. But
I guess.
Thank you. Great springboard to Candida and understanding how it can impact the gut. Thank you so much, Mia. Thanks for jumping on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Do you want to say anything before we wrap up, Lori?
I think you pretty much covered it. If anybody is watching this, of course, in the replay, I'm going to post it in a couple places and I'll have the link up on my thing, but definitely remember that you saw it with Erin, right? Because there's going to be, I'm going to give her a nice thank you gift afterwards, and I want to know who you are. Okay.
Aww.
And, that's pretty much it. I think we got it.
That was a lot of info.
Yeah.
But it was good too. I love how you talked about the gut fundamentals too. I mean, yeah. So if you guys have any other questions, follow up, you know where to find us. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So much. Okay. Bye.
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 Oh, I think my head was cut off.